A rare criminal case is being brought against a U.S. airman over comments he made about President Trump. Major Jason Watson is being accused of breaching the Uniform Code of Military Justice. That's the reason for his arrest. According to charging documents, his violations are for, quote, contemptuous remarks he allegedly made about the commander-in-chief. I want to bring in CBS News senior national security correspondent Charlie D'Agata. So, Charlie, what do you make of the case?
A lot to be made. Good morning, Kelly. Well, first of all, to say it's rare, we believe this is the first time a major has even been charged of this alleged crime. Under Article 88, as you mentioned, this kind of thing would normally be handled behind closed doors as like an internal matter with the military. And it's the contemptuous part that you said. That's Article 88, which makes it a criminal offense for commissioned uniformed officer, by the way, to use contemptuous words against major civilian leaders, including like the president, the vice president, Congress, etc. Makes it worse, he was in uniform. You may recall back in July, he took to the steps of the Capitol, holding up that sign that read impeach, convict, remove, obviously referring to President Trump. He was first detained back then, but then he was detained again last week when he went on CNN and had this to say about the president.
Not only is he a failure as president, he is flagrantly violating the Constitution, breaking the law, engaged in rampant corruption, and is killing Americans.
Now, his own attorney, he said Watson fully expected to be arrested, and he stands by what he said. Vlad?
So I guess, Charlie, and we were talking about this earlier on CBS Mornings, all soldiers, sailors, Marines, airmen, Coast Guardsmen have to get if they're going to talk to the press, if they're going to talk to you on the record, they have to talk to their commanding officer and perhaps even public affairs, right? And maybe you can break down that process for our audience, because since you cover the Pentagon. But the question that I have is, if you don't do that, if you go outside the chain of command, is that illegal?
Yeah, well, Vlad, there are several interesting points that we have to touch on there. First of all, it's not even clear which charges that he's facing. And that's kind of where the debate begins, because it puts at odds First Amendment rights against what you said, the military's vast restrictions on a uniformed officer, speaking to the media, protests, whatever. So there are other more traditional charges, if you want to put it that way, that you and I are more familiar with, right? The Uniform Code of Military Justice, like failure to obey regulations, conduct unbecoming an officer, that's part of it too. But legal experts are going to have to determine like what contemptuous means in this particular example, because, as I said, there's no real legal precedence here. And it's not even clear yet whether this will go to a criminal trial or a military court-martial. So we believe that Watson is currently in a kind of military hold, what the military describes as pre-trial confinement. And the next few steps, it's down to legal interpretation and, honestly, how the military, including the Air Force, decide how to handle this.
Wow. All right. Charlie D'Agata reporting for us. Charlie, thank you.
Thank you.